Again, going back through last week quick again. Did do a good job again defensively for sure, especially stopping the run. Kind of felt Northwestern with their attack could give us some matchup problems. It was very disappointing. I thought they could throw the ball and make some plays, both the quarterback plays, so it allowed them to run. And once again, it's a couple, 3 weeks in a row. Iowa ran the ball well, and then their quarterback play. Wisconsin the same. With Russell Wilson, and then with Illinois, the way they played against us, we've had a few weeks where our defense has had a hard time making anybody one-dimensional. So the run game, the inability to stop that was disappointing. You know, the best game we played to date defensively was against Penn State, where as they struggled in the throw game, we were able to kind of play decent defense against a team that was running the ball and tackling it. Since then, we've had a hard time where we've allowed running games to take off with good passing games, or vice versa. The quarterback have a hot hand. So I think that's now 3 games in a row we didn't have a defensive takeaway. And I actually looked up, I think I said this last night, so you guys heard, I saw in the defensive stats that the team right ahead of us in total defense is Oklahoma State. And they're third in the nation. They also lead the nation in creating turnovers. They lead the nation in turnover margin. They do have a phenomenal offense that they complement with their defense. So not saying that's our only deal, but the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, we've only created 1 turnover. That was on the punt team last week. That's disappointing. So we want to keep harping on that. We're trying to play better defense, getting stops. I think we had 3 or 4 third downs. We actually made the stop, but a penalty allowed them to keep it going, or we didn't execute by the rules. So we just got to keep playing better defensively. We started some young guys that went by design. That's just kind of right now some of the best guys in the mix of what's going on. I think we should have Jeff Thomas back this week. He did practice yesterday. He did practice last week with a slight shoulder deal, so we'll see how he goes as we move forward and either get him in the mix or complement it like we did last week with Chase and Dahlstrom Griffin. Offensively, we ran the ball better a couple weeks in a row, same time, and the line's getting better. Stephen Houston's coming along. Trey's got a couple games under his belt. Thought Ed had a better week of practice last week too, so that was good to see. Dusty is starting to do some slight running, but he didn't practice as of yet, so we'll see as we move forward through the week with he. But I thought Ed had a better week. But Trey, the boys played, he settled down. The run game, was better, but at the same time, we'll get a tremendous challenge this week with Ohio State, their run defense, the way they play defense. So we made some okay strides there, but the real stride is scoring points and winning, and we, again, like the defense, we stopped ourselves, I want to say, with the turnover. I think 3 times we had the first down and third down where a penalty took us out and we punted. So last week, the way the game's going, we needed to keep pace, keep score offensively, and even though you can say they made some strides, we weren't able to keep it in flux. Last name kicking game. Disappointed there with our kick. We kicked 2 out of bounds, giving them the ball at 40, and we let them bust 1 out across midfield. So we gave them 3 short fields and then a turnover where they started on our side of the ball. So we keep talking about need better defensive play, but you can't put a defense that's maybe struggling or not playing as good as you want in bad situations. So the kickoff team was disappointing. I know Mitch has done a pretty good job with handling our kicks all year, but he has had a couple of wet bounds. We try to pin a team into the corner once in a while. We've kind of miscalculated or misjudged our kick spot, and that's kind of hurt us. So we need to be a little bit better there. So that's kind of that deal. Moving forward, we had a suspension the other day with DeMarlo Belcher, but that has in fact turned out it's going to be a dismissal for the team. You guys saw that yesterday. I'm not going to go into great details other than no issue other than our seniors and I back in preseason went through the rules we wanted. The seniors actually amended and gave me some ideas of things they wanted, things we wanted to do, and all the players are aware of that, signed off on that. We go through that during the year. And unfortunately, just with some things that happened, it got to a point, and even our first meeting, very first meeting, I've said this to you guys a couple times, the best players and the seniors are held to the highest standards, whether it be on the field, off the field, performance, practice habits, just doing things right. So there's not, we don't have sacred cows, no individuals above anything, and so it's unfortunate that this has happened to what I think is a good kid and potentially a good player, but at the same time, just by following our guidelines, just didn't do things that needed to do in some situations, and it's led to dismissal, and that's kind of it with that. So then moving on to Ohio State, again coming off wins back-to-back. I think they're sitting out 5-3. Could have had 3 wins in a row. They're playing very, very well at Nebraska. When the freshman quarterback who's done a nice job, Braxton Miller, when he was injured. I think you guys are aware they didn't close the game out at Nebraska, but kind of played extremely well at their place for 3 quarters. Defensively, again, very stout, great run defense. Challenged very well in the pass game as well. Again, they lost, a close game to Michigan State in a defensive struggle. They lost at Miami, Florida. They lost at Nebraska. So they've lost 3 solid teams, 5-3. Is a little transition, but I got a lot of respect for Luke Fickell and all the coaches that were there. We've shared with those guys through the last few years. Some of those guys I've known since the 90s. And again, I think they're doing a good job in a difficult situation. Going to Columbus is going to be unique and special. One of the great places to play. Our kids get a chance to go there, as always, right now. With schedule change back-to-back years, but if you're a freshman young guy, it's every other year. So we look forward to going into a great venue, 12 o'clock kick. And we thought we had a good start to yesterday's practice again. I'd still like to see us take some things from the practice field to the game field, but again, look forward to going against the Buckeyes. It'll be a great challenge. So with that, we'll see what you guys do.
I just want to ask one question. Was it maybe a singular race sometimes, or was there kind of a series of things?
Well, again, not being specific, but we're not where I got something, unless it's a major deal. Typically, you kind of work through situations, but whether it be again class issues or whatever with guys, and you try to get guys right. So again, it was kind of a little bit of through time. With again, seldom unless it's a major act, and most of those acts would probably lead to expulsion from school, and that wasn't the case.
How does that sort of change the dynamic of the receiving corps at this point?
I don't know. He's been out so much with injury, and hadn't played the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's got 25 catches, and I think we got 180 some catches. So you lose a percentage, but at the same time, we played enough without him, and those young guys have kind of rallied up and did okay. So it's not all of a sudden like you were just set with something that was just like a constant figure and all that. So it just it's not there for sure. There's some weeks that with that little knee injury he had, he was in and out. So I don't know if it's as big a deal as it maybe cosmetically looks.
You had a lot of guys either be dismissed or leave the team on the court. It's not something that is normally happening in this program all that often. It's just something that you anticipate going to hear about this might be kind of case.
No, not at all. But at the same time, I think we've been pretty, and I don't think we're very, very rigid. Like I say, the team rules that are set were set with the seniors. They actually gave me suggestions and amended some things, because to me, it's not a rule unless they're going to follow it. So it's not, a coach sitting up here like, hey, if we're going to have, like during the week, we have certain nights, we have curfews, and things we can do and can't do, where we need to be, etc. As we get closer, as the game approaches, and that's kind of standard issue of every program I've been. But again, we have player feedback, and again, share all the team rules with the guys. Everyone signs off on it. They get a copy. They sign and state that they understand the rules, and we go through it as you go through the year, again, you guys don't get in the locker room, but we'll go through actually a couple of our team rules as soon as the game's over, as we are doing things on Saturday night, as we go through like class attendance or tutoring, and so we're always kind of, just kind of putting again reminders of doing what you're supposed to do. I don't think it's anything unusual or anything different from anywhere else. I just think, no, I don't think it's unusual to kind of have policies and hold guys to standards in most programs. So, and again, like I say, it's not a case you're done, you try to work with it, but I don't think, again, I've been a part where Adrian Peterson didn't go to class and didn't play again. I think he was pretty good. And I saw the number one quarterback in the country break some rules and was dismissed from a program the second it happened. And it wasn't a big deal. You kind of move on. So, again, that being said, that was actually said in the first meeting. Again, I don't know who it is, but the best players in the room are held to the highest standard. And again, we still work with guys, and we continue to work with them. So, but anyway, that's normal, obviously.
Defensively, the issues that you've had in the past 4 games, are those things that can be fixed by saying this term improvement? Is this something that's going to be a long-term thing? Well,
the only thing, again, the last couple of weeks, you played some teams that, as they got on a roll, have played well and played both sides, played with both hands, a running game and a pass game. Ohio State's coming in with a definite commitment to run the ball. with a young quarterback and a very athletic, or probably the most athletic quarterback that we've seen in the ability. We saw some guys that could run around. He is for sure the guy that is, and that's no disrespect to the others, he is as good of a guy that can make some plays. And it's not necessarily designed quarterback runs, but just a guy that can extend some plays, make some plays. As a young guy, you can see him working through their pass game as they go. They're playing good enough defense, much like Penn State is. You're playing good enough defense, you don't have to offensively stress yourself out, so you can play a little close to the vest, take your shots when you want to, but play field position because they back up their offense with a very, very solid defense. And that's giving them a chance to play very good these last few weeks and down the stretch.
Talk a lot about young guys that you had to play on that side of the ball, I guess. Is it sort of more of an issue as a part of the coordinating those guys, because it's not only you're playing a lot of young guys, but they're also moving around and not having kind of the same young guys in the same places?
Well, I think the issue, with Leon Beckham coming back, you got Murphy from that hybrid linebacker back to safety, and we think he's a nice young player, but that's another position, another read, another, so you've got 4, 5, 6 weeks. You go through preseason, you're playing safety. And then after the Ball State game, now you're a linebacker. And that's a different vision, different thought, different keys, different calls, different fits, different responsibilities. Leon comes back. Some of the safeties, a couple of guys have gotten hurt, a couple of the other guys weren't playing quite as good as you would want. You move him back there. At the same time, it's a young guy, so there's going to be some glitches and busts. No disrespect to Mark, he's had as good a year defensively as anyone. And if you ask our defensive coaches, they would say he's probably competed as well, been as tough, played with as great of effort of anyone on defense. And that says a lot for a freshman. It says a lot for basically a high school tailback that played defense, that's learning how to play both sides of the ball. So that's not a slight of him. So again, we moved a few guys around. That's not by design. I keep cautioning our guys defensively. I think the one thing we did offensively, a handful of weeks ago, we did settle on some things we wanted to do in a couple games that didn't look that good. But as we've kind of came through it, we've got some continuity, and Bernard Taylor and Peyton Eckert have kind of locked in the spots, and they're playing better. You see Stephen Houston, getting better, and Trey, because we're repeating things, and there's a lot of carryover, getting better. Defensively, with some injuries and attacking some schemes, I don't know if we've given those young guys a chance to maybe repeat the process and be where they need to be. And I think that's something as coaches that I think we're looking at as we move forward. How can we make sure, because we can do a much better job, Coach. We got some players that need to play better, and we got some young players, yes, but as coaches, we got to do a better job of again, going through the week, preparing our team, and putting them in better positions as we move forward.
When you, I was going to say, when you have two freshman safeties, you also have a guy like Jeff going, it seems like you don't have anybody in the middle of the field that can really direct traffic. How big of an issue was that last week? It's not necessarily.
Well, I wouldn't say, you make a great point. I wouldn't say last week. I'd say in general. I think, again, we got new scheme, new guys. We're not a very loud team. I mean, we're on the practice field, and I can hardly hear calls where I know when you put some folks in the stands, this week you're going to pushing 100,000. You need to speak up. And again, a confident man on the field, there's a way you talk, there's a way you carry yourself. And that being said, with a young team, with new scheme, with position changes, as we go through our communication, and that's not mad at our players, but that's something that we are constantly harping on how to improve that as we practice. So when we're practicing things, Dustin, that's actually one of the things we're trying to practice. And as we move forward, we've got to be a lot better there. And it's almost like, to the point, as a player, just because you know the call, don't sit on it. I mean, don't worry about you, worry about everybody else. Let's be loud again, passing the calls, communications, because it isn't just getting a call from the bench. A lot of times defensively in this day and age, when something is called, as soon as that formation lines up, it gets adjusted. Wait a minute now, we didn't, because the uniqueness in college football now is the ability to line up in personnel, but all of a sudden go to no backs or one back or unbalanced sets that all of a sudden things need to get cleaned up. This call is nice if we anticipated the formation. A lot of times defensively, the personnel, you're guessing the formation. That being said, even when you make the call, there's an adjustment. And that's where the communication becomes even more critical. When there's motion, back shifting sides, back to the tight end, back away from the tight end, that affects sometimes rotation of coverages and matchups. And as those things happen, communicating it's critical. And if we can be a lot better at a lot of things, but defensively, it shouldn't be that difficult. But as a young team, new staff, new schemes, moving guys around, we got to be a lot better there.
Coach, we look at 204 points in 4 games. Do you see progression out there on this
progression of what?
Just getting better. Anything that says this team is, this defense is getting better, doing things that you want.
I mean, when you're giving up 50 a game, I mean, that's what you're doing it for. You can say no. But again, when you're giving 50 a game and your kicker kicks out of bounds twice and running back to 50, they're going to score points already. And I think if you do stat studies, when you're starting on your side of 40, you score about 47, 50% of the time. So again, when the offense tournament, you got 20 points attributed to halfway short fields. They need to make some stops. They need to hold them to 3. But again, it's a total team effort too now. So I mean, the defense can play better. But again, I go, if we don't look at all the stats and numbers, I just do that yesterday. As I was going through, not trying to, I found where Oklahoma State's defense was rated. I know their offense is significantly better than ours, and they do a great job. But what was amazing, even though you give up plays, they created those turnovers. And you go through 3 games, we haven't created a defensive turnover. Not that we'll get one this week. But we were sitting early. I think we're sitting on 13 after 6 games, over 2 a game. And that means that was getting some stops. We had 3 stops the other day defensively. When we do stop them, we get penalties. Now we give them, just for not, playing by the rules. So again, there's some issues defensively. And again, I think some of the issues as we move forward is just schematically how to keep learning our players and putting them in good matchups, whether it be man coverage, when to play man, how to give help, where's your help coming from, inside leverage, outside leverage, defensively, how much do you play straight, how much movement do you do, how much do you blitz. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we got to go through. And I would like to think, and I said this the other day, but I would hope our players are getting better. But I think the critical thing right now as coaches, are we getting better? Are we learning where are we at talent-wise, where are we at attitude-wise, where are we at schematically, and how do we match up and how do we move forward as we move forward and build our team?
Talking about all these defensive schematics in general, you say this week's game against Ohio State kind of gives you an opportunity as opposed to last week just the style of offense they run, a little somewhere on the front end.
Yeah, but again, they're good players and a quarterback that make plays. So, again, you don't want to sit here. I think last time we won against Ohio State was in the 80s. So again, we're playing a team that's pretty good. So it's not like all of a sudden I say we have the advantage in playing those guys. Now, younger quarterback, team playing great defense, you're making some good points. But the point being made here too, you got to play good defense to take advantage of that. That's still lining up, communicating, getting off blocks, tackling well. When you do get them in third downs, get the stop and get off the field. Be nice to get the ball out, get it on the ground, get it in the air, make some turnovers. But at the same time, if we go and don't communicate and play like we're playing defensively, we'll have our hands full against Ohio State as well.
What do you think of where it is right now and over the last couple games, a little more kind of getting
Well, you say two good points. When you say the word polish, I think when we're talking about defensively, if there's some things we can do short term, it's fundamentally still learn how to play the game with our hands, getting off blocks, Trey as a quarterback, fundamentally how to play the game, how to be better in his progressions, better in his throwing mechanics, getting on target, etc. So, again, fundamentally, we're a young team. Fundamentally, we're not very good as much as schematically. So we got to keep working on that. We've actually are trying to extend down the stretch without over-practicing the ability of teaching, just continue to learn base fundamentals of how we want to teach the players to play your position. For Trey moving forward, it does have, again, a fair amount. The only time something's not being called for Trey, it's just that's a throw that we don't know if he's not really comfortable at or good at, or maybe something he doesn't like. Because I don't know, he doesn't feel comfortable. I don't know if I see that or feel that space, or I'm not comfortable throwing that. Because when you do put things together with those quarterbacks, you would ask them all the time, hey, it's nice we like this play, but do you see it? Do you feel it? Do you like it? And if a quarterback has an issue, doesn't like something, you slow that down. So he's got a fair amount of it right now, and he handles it pretty good.
How much has it helped him to have Steve Houston back there being so productive and sort of giving him a running game behind him?
Again, good point. And again, sometimes though, and it's not disrespectful, but sometimes I think we've matched up well offensively. Where our line, we had matchups in the blocking game, and we were holding our own. They are getting better, but again, it's still a young line, and we're working process. So Steven playing well, definitely helps Trey. But I think we said that even in Iowa. His first start, where it looked like he played so well. We blocked him a little bit better. The receiver play was better. Tight end Max and Ted did well. He had nice complementary help. And that's what Trey's got in the last couple of weeks. I think he's playing solid. He has a lot of improvement to do. By no means is he, for a young guy, under-exceeded what we want, but he's awfully young, with miles to go from what he can be as a player. But as a quarterback, you know, all those guys around him make him look good. The more Stevens playing, the better he's getting. It's happening across the board, but they will get a tremendous challenge when they line up Saturday and play against Ohio State's defense. It'll be nice to see on the road with a stouter defense as a young team, what's our ability to step up and match that challenge. It'll be nice to see how those guys do so. It'll be unique. It'll be a very unique opportunity for those guys.
Was that always the game that you guys used last year with those two? Was that part of the offense at the beginning of the year, or was that something you guys drew up on straight?
No, we've had the zone stuff, and you know, we didn't do the three-back things till a few weeks ago, but we had zone read, and that was just a read that had a pitch off. We ran some speed option, you know, from the get-go. That was in back in spring, so there's always been a little bit, because we thought both with Ed Dusty a year ago, a spring ago, prior to Trey being here, that those we would need to do some degree of quarterback run game, whether it be zone read, whether it be something with a pitch. The other day, you know, the last couple of weeks, you've gotten a combination of a replay that had a pitch choice as well.
Are you surprised by the way the defense is playing on Saturdays? Have they practiced well, communicated well in practice, and fallen apart the game?
Well, I think it could be better. I wouldn't say it's total fall apart. Again, in respect, they have had a run now where they've played 3-4 really good, well-balanced offenses that both run and pass. You know, and at the time, maybe I know Illinois has since lost a couple games. Wisconsin's lost 2 games last, played a game, 2 games with a block punt. But at the time, those guys were playing about. They were playing as good offense as most guys in the country. Ability to run and pass, good quarterback play, throwing the good skill set. So, you know, the defense, you can say it's regressed, but it's also had its hands full. Now they got, you know, they got to rise up to the challenge. You know, but now they've had a good run. But at the same time, you're playing the Big Ten, you're going to continue to see it. We'll see great athletes this week. Young quarterback that haven't thrown it quite as much as these other guys, but very athletic. We'll see it moving forward with Michigan State, Purdue down the stretch. So we're going to see good players. That's no excuse. We got to rise up and stop it. The key, again, last week's key to me was we need to stop their run. And when we didn't, with their ability to throw the ball, just, you know, those guys get their hands full.
How do you talk to these guys that they can't play on Ohio State?
Excuse me?
How do you major players that they can play?
Again, to me, you start by, you know, your battle, watching tape, getting a feel for your opponent. Again, schematically, you put together the plan you think, again, where you can take care of the ball, you can score when you get opportunities, and defensively, what's your alignments, your pressures, your movements, your coverages to get the stops, get them off the field. Again, you know, every game I went in with the mindset that if we do things properly, we'll have a chance to win. I know we're playing a bunch of young guys, and the assumption is we're playing for next year. Again, last week, Andrew McDonald and Justin Pagan were the 2 offensive linemen that played the best. You know, and we do have some. Leon Beckham played his best game. Here's a guy that's out there not really full tilt, coming off an injury. Our defensive guy, you know, player of the game. Even though we didn't do much defensively, we respect that. So, you know, we're not looking. We're playing young guys right now. That's maybe just the best we got, and the guys that are getting it done. The real deal each week's to win. And again, as you look at the matchup, Ohio State, you know, they are 5-3. They've lost a few. You know, they're in a close game last week. They could go either way. They end up on the right side. What's their Toledo game? It could go either way. They end up on the right side. So they're a team that is in transition with the young quarterback. They've been a little bit off. If we play well, we'll be okay. He's practiced at the same time, and we'll see as we go through it. He looks pretty good, both he and Colin. I mean, right now, we're not overdoing him early, but he did some things last week, but yesterday he kind of practiced. As we go a little bit here today and tomorrow, he's kind of back in the mix. Jeff Thomas practiced yesterday. He's back in the mix. Do they both start? I don't know, but I would suspect from yesterday they're definitely, you know, in our rotation, in our thoughts, and we'll see how the week plays for those guys. So we should be pretty good there. Luis Wilson, surgical knee. He will be out for the year. So Luis is gone. Yes?
Sorry, just real fast. The Wilson injury, is that something that is it a long-term knee injury, or is it something that's just going to roll out for the end of the year because there's only a few weeks left?
No, he's got, again, they'll go and do it, but it looks like it's going to be an ACL, those 3, 4, 5 month kind of gigs is what it looks like. Okay, guys? Appreciate it. Have a good one.